Hello everyone, my name is Tiago Barreiros and this is a video about tiny houses in Portugal. So, as the video says, tiny house in Portugal in a nutshell. I've been doing some videos, some research about building and owning a tiny house in Portugal, and in some comments people asked me to do this a video in English for the non-Portuguese speakers. So I'm going to try to resume in the very short manner what I've gathered so far, or at least what's the interesting part and what you can do. Now, a little disclaimer, I'm not a tiny house owner. I would very much like to own a tiny house or maybe build my own tiny house at some point, but right now I don't have it. I don't have a property to put it on, and we'll start on that, owning and building a tiny house. I only know of a Portuguese company, a Belgian guy in the north center part of Portugal, that owns a company called Tiny House Portugal that builds tiny houses. He's a carpenter by trade, but he works with certified gas electricians, and he builds the tiny houses on top of a trailer that's made in the Netherlands, that's specific for tiny houses, that sells throughout Europe, and then he gets the trailers to Portugal. He builds the tiny houses on top and sells them to the customers. Now, to own a tiny house and to have a tiny house in Portugal, you need to have it somewhere. And either you have it on a piece of land that you own, or you're going to try to rent out a place that you can park the tiny house in. Now, about this, there's no laws and regulations about tiny houses. So the tiny house, it's not a building, is not an imóvel like we would say in Portugal, a proper house that doesn't move. So it's more like a vehicle. The trailer, it's a registered vehicle, and what you have on top of the trailer is the load. So that the tiny house, it's the load of the vehicle, and it's not registered as a house. So it doesn't pay taxes like a house would, and it doesn't need to have the license that a house would. Now, with this being said, you need to talk with your local council, because it will vary. Maybe you'll talk with your council and you put the tiny house on your own land where you already own a house, and with no problem or fuss, you just do the connections that the house comes already built for, to the mains, to the power, to water, to sewage, and that's all fine and you don't need anything. Or maybe you need to pay a fee, or maybe they want you to register that as something else on your property, like a building, and they want you to have this. In other councils, maybe like in Algarve, you have more tourists. They want to get away from everything that's mobile and can park somewhere and that people want to live on, because maybe they'll having a bigger influx of people that are trying to live on trailers or on motorhomes. So they maybe are very strict on people owning a tiny house in a piece of land, and they don't want this, and they are going to make your life hard if you're going to try there and make it work. So you need to be open to the possibility that you won't be able to have it, even if it's your land, or that's not going to be any issue. You just need to talk with your council. I think some of the councils will be very open to this situation. Some of them won't know how to deal with it, and maybe they'll just say it's up to you, and others will be a bit more strict. But if you want to be sure about this, I would say contact your council first, see where you're planning on putting the house, if you want to make things nice and legal, before you buy the house or build the house, and then you have an asset on your hands that you cannot use, and you'll be frustrated, obviously, with this. Now, there are people that already bought tiny houses, that own tiny houses in Portugal. Unfortunately, I don't know a tiny house owner to ask them this directly, but so obviously this is already happening in Portugal, and people are finding a way to have their tiny houses. Now, like I said, on connecting your house with the builder, or when you build it yourself, you can have your tiny house ready to be connected to power, to water, or you can have it with solar panels, with batteries. This is totally up to you, and as long as you have somewhere to connect or to stay off grid, this can work fine. Now, also on the property, you have different types of land in Portugal. So again, with the council, make sure that even if you have a land, that you can park your trailer there, or you can stay with your trailer there, or you can make the connections that you want to do it. It is a vehicle, but then again, if you're living in this vehicle and you're making it your house and your home, and you have what we call a rural land, where you're not allowed to actually build anything, and it's only for crops and for trees and stuff, maybe if you park your tiny house there, you can, maybe it's not a legal situation for you to be living there. That's what I mean. So again, make sure that you talk to your council. I think this is the biggest thing I can say in this video. Now, I don't know if I left anything out. Check out this company, and I hope that you find a place for your tiny house in Portugal. I really hope I have mine one day as well. So see you soon, and if you have any specific questions I didn't address on this video, make a comment. I'll try to explain if it's in my knowledge. Okay, bye. See you on the next one.